Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Dana Arcuri, author, speaker, survivor, and advocate. And today we are going to talk about the narcissist who triangulates your relationships and why oftentimes the family scapegoat may need to cut all ties to their entire family. So first, let's try to envision the shape of a triangle for triangulation. So picture there are three sides to a triangle shape, and it represents triangulation of your relationships. And at the top of the triangle is the malignant narcissist. Maybe for you, it's an ex-spouse, ex-boyfriend, girlfriend. Maybe it's your mother, your father, your siblings, or a coworker, or someone else. And then look on one side, and there is a third party, and it's oftentimes someone you know. And again, it could be a coworker, it could be your friend, it could be someone in your community, it could be your brothers, your sisters, it could be anyone under the sun. And then if we look to the other side of this triangle, the third person is you. And typically you are the scapegoat, whether it is with a past relationship with a narcissist or whether it's with your toxic family. So there's different variables that come into play depending on the relationship that you were involved in. And for some of you, you may have had many different toxic relationships. So for some people, they have been in intimate relationships, whether it was marriage or just an intimate partnership with someone in which they discovered this person was a narcissist. And with other people, it could be that they were born into a very toxic, dysfunctional family in which typically either the grandparents or their parents, at least one person in the family, and it could even be a sibling, was also a narcissist. So there's three people involved and you happen to be part of this. You didn't choose it, it just kind of happened. And what's really kind of crazy making is that many times when this is beginning, typically the scapegoat's not even aware that people are gossiping about them. So it might be something that may take you years and years and years to finally unravel these mysterious pieces of the puzzle and put the puzzle together, and all of a sudden your eyes fly wide open, and you totally get it and you understand. You know, for me, it was several years ago. It was around 2018 when I had my aha moment, when I realized, wow, for my entire life, my mother was triangulating every single relationship that I was in. She destroyed my relationship with my father for many, many years. It wasn't till it was drawing a lot closer to the end of my dad's life when him and I restored our relationship, and it was a very beautiful, cathartic, therapeutic experience for me, and one I am thankful for. But we have to understand that when it comes to triangulation, there is so much hate and bitterness and envy and jealousy and discord and a lot of instigating, because what will happen is the narcissist will recruit several, if not hundreds, of flying monkeys. Now, again, you know, these flying monkeys could be your relatives, it could be your neighbors, it could be people in your community, it could be your ex-spouse's friends, all ganging up on you. So they oftentimes, you know, when you call them out on it and you're like, you know, hey, you're gaslighting me, you're manipulating me, you've triangulated every single one of my relationships, they'll deny it. They'll say, well, it's all of us against you, so the problem must be you. And, you know, again, this is blame shifting. Last week I had the video, you might want to check it out, on blame shifting and the crazy making that happens with these very unhealthy relationship dynamics. So let's first talk about exactly what is involved with triangulation of relationships. And this quote is from psychcentral.com. So they said, quote unquote, triangulation is when a toxic and manipulative person, who often is a narcissistic person who has a lot of narcissistic traits, brings a third party into the relationship in order to remain in control. So they play people against each other. So that is what's happening, is the narcissist is the ringleader of this three-ring circus, and they will bring on board many, many, many flying monkeys. And these flying monkeys obviously are very insecure, uneducated people. Number one, no, they don't have common sense. Now, the average person has common sense. And so if someone's going to be spreading lies to them, they would first really look for accurate facts and the truth. But the crazy making of a flying monkey is that they don't check it out. They don't check for facts and for honesty and integrity and authenticity and transparency. No. So the flying monkeys are typically followers. They will never ever be a leader. They have low confidence in themselves, very low self-esteem. They are cowards, and that's why they bow down to these emotional vampires who happen to be malignant narcissists. And so oftentimes I wondered, well, why did the flying monkeys fall for this? Like, wake up, people. Are you that stupid? Are you that naive? And here's the truth. It's really disturbing. It's really sad, but no, the flying monkeys won't wake up. They will just keep the status quo. They will be the follower. They will be the little tiny sheep just following the vicious wolf, and they're going to just listen to whatever is handed to them by the narcissist and consider it like the Bible, like it's the word, as if it's really true. Meanwhile, it's a bunch of BS. It's not true. There are no facts involving it. There are times where the narcissist might take a half-truth and tangle it up into a web of lies to become very distorted, and then now it's just a big blatant lie. And it's ugly. It's so ugly. When we really look at the root of this, it is so, so evil in many various demonic forms, but we have to understand that these people are really bound up in heavy, heavy bondage, and it may take them a lifetime to figure it out. And in most cases, for people who are narcissists and flying monkeys, because they don't do their homework, because they're not educated people, because they are cowards who fall through the trap of these web of lies, and because they are just so naive, they don't check it out. And so they'll probably never, ever, while they're alive, ever come to grips with what's really happening, and that they have continued a cycle of abuse. And oftentimes this is a generational cycle. It goes around and around and around. Here's a quote by a wonderful woman, and her name is Sherry Lynn Clow. And she says, quote unquote, "Triangulation is the number one tool of every narcissist. They will train their flying monkeys in the art of gossip and lying, because without gossip and lies, they can't spread their hate-filled agenda of turning people against you." In some cases, okay, so that was the quote, excellent quote, spot on. 2 thumbs up for this woman and her pure brilliance of what triangulation's all about. So triangulation is about a narcissist who's bitter and hateful, very, very manipulative, who does a lot of gaslighting, who will try to destroy every single one of your relationships, and even with your husband, even with your children and your grandchildren and your best friends. This is something that's extremely covert, yet it happens so frequently. And it's just sad. It's just sad. Next, we can understand that in some cases, narcissists triangulate without the victim, which could be the black sheep of the family or a scapegoat. So without them knowing that this is happening. And so it's referred to abuse by proxy. And this is very, very normal and common for a narcissist. So beware if you are tangled up with a narc and flying monkeys. So the toxic person wants to use another person. So this is the third person who they're going to use, and typically it is a flying monkey. And so they have this person who they contact, and sometimes they'll want to pass along a little message for this third party to tell you. And the reason why is it's another way for a narcissist to get narcissistic supply. They want you to overreact and cry and scream. And of course, the flying monkey is supposed to then return to the narcissist and tell them everything that happened and how you overreacted and had a meltdown and you were crying and cussing and yelling and trying to defend yourself. And this is what the narcissist craves. They crave a lot of drama, dysfunction, denial, and deception. Next is that the narcissist continues repeatedly every single day, 24 hours under 24/7. Keep it simple, 24/7, day by day, year by year, decade by decade. It's just a vicious cycle where the narc uses flying monkeys to abuse the scapegoat, and then they could turn around and step back and claim that they're innocent. So this is, again, super common with toxic relationships, is that the narcissist will stir the pot, then step back, and then they're just going to watch. They're just going to watch all hell break loose after they triangulated your relationship with another person and many people. It's really, really destructive to any relationship. So we have to understand that triangulation, it destroys your relationship. You know, when I start thinking about like what happened in 2017 and 2018 and then beyond with my own narcissistic mother and my toxic siblings and all their viciousness and manipulation, everything about what happened just goes back to triangulation. And it wasn't until I stepped away from the madness, I said adios, and I formed healthy boundaries. I went no contact, and I went on a new pathway to healing and health and hope and peace of mind and empowering myself and working through the horrible trauma of this dysfunctional family. You know, it was after I really took a step back and there was a long, long, long distance between me and these toxic family members when I was really able then to see clearly. I mean, we're talking, it was crystal clear that I then understood what triangulation really was all about and how it influenced negatively every single one of my relationships with my siblings, with my nieces, with my nephews, with my in-laws, with my father, with my stepsisters, with different friends, different neighbors, people in the community. I mean, it just goes on and on. It kind of spills over. So triangulation of relationships, because it is so destructive, it will spill over into many, many, many other relationships. So this leaves you now where you're dealing with a family who has a mobbing mentality. Oh, it's all of us against you, so you must be the problem. They are extremely psychologically abusive, and it is very, very unhealthy. And so typically, the reason why some family scapegoats, black sheep of the family, decide to walk away from every single relative in their birth family is because they decide to end the cycle of generational abuse, because it takes great strength. It takes a whole hell of a lot of courage to stand up to your toxic family and to understand what really took place, to awaken to the truth about abuse, and to say, enough is enough, and I'm not going to play your game anymore. And so you go full no contact. And in my case, that's what I did. Now, a lot of people have tried to do blame shifting. You know, last week I had that topic on blame shifting, and it's so common. Now, I've had some people say some really nasty things to me, you know, really, really derogatory, negative, manipulative, hateful, bitter comments on my YouTube channel. Now, number one, I know where they're coming from. I know that they're part of the Flying Monkey clan. I understand that they are still defending the narcissist who is now deceased. And I understand that they are just uneducated groups of people who are cowards, who are in denial, who do not understand about trauma bonds because they're even a part of the trauma. And we can understand that despite their lack of knowledge, despite their lack of empathy, their lack of love, their lack of being authentic and honest and truthful and caring and compassionate, we can understand that there will be some family members who will never, ever take the side of the family scapegoat, but instead they will jump on board with the narcissist and the other flying monkeys to blame shift. So they victim blame the scapegoat. You know, I've had people who said some really horrible things to me via YouTube, via Facebook, etc., etc. And of course, you know, these comments don't go live. You know, what happens when someone sends me a comment that's extremely manipulative, negative, extremely derogatory and hate speech? Well, I report them and block them because that's the kind of act of self-love that I can offer myself on my healing journey. You know, when we break away and we become free from our dysfunctional, toxic family, you know, we're free from the narcissist, we're free from the flying monkeys or anyone else who's part of this crazy making dynamics that's so destructive. You know, we can understand that it is so liberating and so freeing to finally break free from these chains that are like bondage. You know, it is a form of spiritual bondage. You know, everything that we see, it's not just on a physical realm. You know, there is another realm. We may not understand if we're not into spirituality or if we don't have that awareness. But oftentimes when people are working through their trauma bonds and they break away from the toxic, unhealthy relationships and they walk away from the triangulation and all the crazy making, they understand that they don't have to explain themselves anymore. They don't have to defend themselves anymore, you know, because why would you want to waste your time and your energy and your breath on someone who doesn't care, who doesn't value you, who is not honest with you, who actually wants to create smear campaigns against you and retaliate against you and say hateful things and then try to destroy your relationship? I mean, so a lot of us in this community of scapegoats and the black sheep of the family, you know, we are on fire to change the world around us. We are paving the way as pioneers to make the way for other people who are suffering these destructive, hateful, toxic, abusive relationships. You know, we are paving the way for them to restore their trauma, to make sense out of what doesn't make sense in these very unhealthy dynamics. And so I don't know today if you have a narcissist or flying monkeys who are still right now on, you know, this very moment, who are still triangulating your relationships, who are brainwashing people, who are gossiping about you, who are gaslighting you, and then they're gaslighting other people and telling them things that are not accurate about you. And then these people, typically flying monkeys, are falling for it. And then they're stalking you, they're hounding you, and they're spreading terrible lies about you. So we have to know that the dynamics of this is abuse. It has a root of evil and sinister motives behind it. You know, anyone who is in a sound mind would not try to destroy your relationship with other people. And it's not just that, but if someone really loves you, they really love you, for you, they care about you, they value you, they're part of your life and it's genuine, they will not turn their back on you. They will not deceive you. They will not deny the truth. They will not say, no, you're the crazy one. You know, so we have to understand that the kindest act of self-care and self-love, and part of like the healthy boundaries is to release them. You know, that whole bless and release, bless and release. And so we stand strong and we release these unhealthy, toxic people from our lives. And we don't fall for their bait, and they're provoking us and manipulating us, and then they're trying to triangulate our relationships. And if necessary, you know, the reason people have to go no contact with all of their relatives, I mean, we're talking across the board, aunts, uncles, grandparents, nieces, nephews, it just goes on and on. It's because your relationship was triangulated to such a degree that your relationship is now destroyed. And why? Why did those people listen to the flying monkeys? You know, I can't speak for them. I can't speak for, you know, why people fall for this nonsense, you know. But I do know that all I can do is stand firm in my boundaries, speak my truth, and be an authentic, transparent person who seeks whole relationships, mutual, loving, caring, kind, respectful relationships where people value me for me, just like they value you for you, because we can understand that at the end of the day, life is too short to tolerate destructive relationships and people who triangulate all of our relationships. And no, you don't have to defend yourself, my friend, and you are not alone if you're going through this. So if someone's spreading lies and gossiping about you and their smear campaigns against you, and there are flying monkeys and a narcissist who are retaliating and they're manipulating and they're stalking you and they are just psychologically abusing you, understand that I really believe that the best thing you can do for you is go as low contact as possible or cut the ties for once and for all. Now, everyone's on a different pathway, and there is not just one single pathway to the trauma recovery. So do what works for you and understand that we evolve. We evolve through the years. You know, think of a butterfly in the metamorphosis stage. You know, you start off, you're in the cocoon. Well, I tell you, when you're with a narcissist and flying monkeys, oh, you're in a dark cocoon, all right. You feel trapped. You feel trapped. You feel like you have no way out, just like the very beginning of a butterfly when they're stuck in that cocoon and it is pitch black and they feel like they're in a pit and they can't find their way out. But then, one beautiful day, the light shines. A new door opens. You find your wings and you learn to soar. And as you do this, you become empowered and liberated. You feel whole, you feel more confident, and you start connecting with other like-minded people who respect you, who understand you, who totally get you, who love you for who you are. I mean, we're talking they love you despite your flaws, because let's be honest, we're not perfect people, but yet we can open our arms wide because we're stronger together when we connect with others who are going through similar situations. And so today, share with me, are you still in a relationship with a narcissist or flying monkeys? If so, have they triangulated one or more relationships? If so, which relationships did they destroy or try to destroy? Have they retaliated against you? Did they create smear campaigns against you? If so, I'd love to hear your story. Share everything that you've experienced as far as triangulation. And even if you did feel the need to end every single relationship and go full no contact with your entire family, share with me what took place, how you're doing, how you're healing. And last, like my video, subscribe to my channel, and share my video on your own social media accounts. Thank you and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.